Hey everybody, I don't know where James is, so why don't we start out with this? Is it working? How come it's not working? See, I get my Villanova. All right. See, I'm doing that today because Villanova's gonna be playing Saturday without one of their best players. And so, oh, I'm froze. I'm frozen. I froze. Why am I frozen? Oh, Oh, now I'm unfrozen. Okay. Anyway, so we're playing Saturday, and we're going to be missing one of our best players. And with Justin Moore, we probably could beat Kansas, but without Justin Moore, it's going to be tough. So I'm going to revel in the glory now, as opposed to waiting, because you never know. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mary Walter. I've been in radio forever, probably longer than some of you have been alive. And you can see me on Newsmax TV Monday nights, 5:45. I'm on with Michael Reagan. This Saturday, I will be on the Wendy Bell Show. I think that starts at 4:30 Eastern, 4:30. Don't, but it's either 4 or 4:30 on Saturdays. That'll be there this Saturday on the Wendy Bell Show, and then of course sometimes in between there, but I always try to post it. So what I like to do on the show is allow you to participate. You can leave comments if you're on Getter, if you're watching on the public Facebook page, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can leave comments, and I will try to read them and involve them in the show as we go along, in order to give you, I like to get your opinion on stuff, so I like to go back and forth. James is supposed to be here. James, if you're just joined, if you've never seen the show before, James was a producer of mine years ago when I had a show in Atlantic City, and we had so much fun because James is hilarious, but he's also wildly irresponsible, and so he's not here. So, and last week James wasn't here, and I did the show by myself. So this may be another solo show, but he texted me like over 5 minutes ago to say, I'm here, I'm setting up, and he has not set up. So I don't know where he is. But I like to do like news topics that you probably haven't heard. Now, some of them you may have heard, and depending on the media that you consume. But I find that there's a lot of stuff that happens in the news that people don't know anything about because, you've got the mainstream media like ABC, NBC, CBS, I think MSNBC, CNN, they have not spoken the name Hunter Biden in over 200 some odd days. I saw it on Fox this morning. They've like a ticker up that they put up every now and then, number of days that the mainstream media has not discussed Hunter Biden, and so that's one of the things that we are going to talk about. I just want to make sure I send him. Yeah, I sent him the invite. Okay, I don't know where he is. So I like to talk about some news things, and then if I have time, I like to do some lighter topics too because I I can't speak for you guys, but it's been 4 weeks today that I broke my leg. Still on crutches for another 2 weeks at least before I go back to the doctor. So I've been sitting in bed a lot with, my leg up and do my exercises and, all that stuff and staying off of it because you're not supposed to walk on a broken leg. And I've been I find a need to like let my brain relax. Like I cannot do, I mean, these people who consume like 24/7 news, I don't know how they do it. I just don't. Look who's here. There he is.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that. Hold on. Can you hear me better?
No, it's the same.
Oh, see, I like that. Hey.
There you are. All right. So I was just saying that, like, I can't, my world, especially when I was working full time, I was at WMAL, my world was having to consume news 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There was never a let up. Even on vacation, I would have to like at least get the headlines of what was going on, and now because I'm really not mobile. My husband takes me to the local bar once a week, and I get to get out amongst the masses, right?
Right.
Sit. Otherwise, I'm sitting upstairs in bed all the time. Me and the three cats. So, and I get up, to go to the bathroom and to, go to the computer room once a day, do work on the computer, and then go back to bed and put my ice wrap on, whatever. But so I'm consuming a lot of TV, and I found that just consuming news was making me crazy. I was getting very angry. I was getting very burned out on it. So that's why people don't understand. Like when I posted something about or I responded to something about the Real House. No, I posted about the Real Housewives of New Jersey because now
Right.
they've got Tiki Barber and his wife Tracy are now like, I guess, sidling into the cast. They're bringing them in,
Right.
and I don't like her. She's too thirsty. Like she wants to be a part of this so badly that she just stirs the pot, and she's not very good at it. She's not, if you're going to stir the pot, you have to do it subtly, and she just doesn't. So I just made a comment about that, and people are like, how can you watch that? You're a serious news person. Like, how can you consume just that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? My head would explode. It's like just consuming football 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You got to do something. I need stuff so that my brain can just relax. So here what I'm watching. That 1,000 Pound Friends. Have you seen that one? I like that
No,
one.
it sounds good though.
It's good. It's these four women from Alabama, and they've known each other since, like junior high school, and they're all obese and they're all getting gastric bypass, and it's how they're just very likable, so I like them.
Right. That's what
So
likable characters.
exactly. And I'm still watching Married at First Sight. And so every now and then I just pop on. I tried watching, and I'm off on a tangent here, but I tried watching Curb Your Enthusiasm. Did you watch that?
Yeah, on and off.
I watched the first two seasons. I made it through the whole first season. I got halfway through the second season. I'm like, I'm bored. This isn't that good.
It's
So
episode. It's not as consistent funny for me like Seinfeld was. It's episode by episode. Some episodes are hilarious. Some are
mhm.
like
I have food stuck in my mouth. Yeah.
been there.
Well, I just had dinner, so
I ate mine in a car. I came from a restaurant gala where I barely ate.
yeah, radio.
Yeah. Radio, exactly. Yeah.
So I'll just catch you up on some news. So if you know me,
Actually, before you do, I would just
yes,
like to add on to your topic because I work at News
yeah,
Talk 1400 and 92.3 WOND, and of course that's a news talk station, and people think I'm obsessed with news like you were, and I'm not. So
right,
like you just can't be. And I talk to people who all the time are just 24 hours a day. That's all they do is worry
yeah,
and think and about the government and news. And I'm like, you can't live like that. You just
yeah,
can't. You have to have some other thing to break it up in your life, or you'll go crazy. Like some of our, listeners and friends are. Their brains start to get a little shaky because
yeah,
they're
yeah,
constantly in that thing, and they don't leave that bubble of just
yeah.
talking about it every minute of the day.
Yeah. So Aaron, thank you so much. You living at WML. Thank you. So Aaron probably knows, I'm sure, because I talked every now and then about my neighbor in where the apartment where I live, just on the Maryland, just north. I live 2 blocks off the DC line in Northwest, right?
Right.
So my neighbor Rhoda, right? And one of these days I'll pull up a picture of Rhoda and I'll share a picture of me and Rhoda. She's my girl. Rhoda is 90 now. Rhoda's 90.
Wow.
Yeah. And she's awesome. So she just sent me to get well. I had sent this to her. So one of I love this thing called Mr. Stickies. It's homemade sticky buns, and they make them in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, or
Oh,
Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
okay.
And they have two other places, and they're not stupid expensive. And so I sent Rhoda for her birthday, for I don't know, but for Hanukkah, I think it was, I sent her a box of a dozen sticky rolls, six regular and then six with walnuts. And she just loves, because she doesn't leave her apartment because she's COVID and everything else. So
Yeah.
she's been like cooped in her apartment for 2 years. She calls me every week, or I call her every week. She's like, when are you coming to visit me? And I was going to go down in April, but I broke my leg. And so, so my husband comes in and he's like, you've got a surprise. There are 2 boxes of Mr. Stickies. When I tell you, I'm going to have my husband weigh it. Honey, if you're listening, go weigh the 2 boxes of Mr. Stickies. She sent me 2 dozen, 1 dozen regular and 1 dozen walnut. When I think she meant to just send 6 and 6, she sent 2 dozen.
And you and your husband probably eat like half each, right? Knowing how you guys are.
Exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen. I have 24 sticky buns. She's hilarious. And he's going to run around and weigh them because he can hear me. And because I'm just curious as to how much they weigh. I saw FedEx come by and I was like, huh. And somebody's sent us something, right? So I'm waiting for him to come home to see what it was. That poor man had to carry these things across the street. I'm telling you, they weigh poundage. I sent a dozen to a friend out in Big Sky out in Montana, who was so kind when I broke my leg out there. So I sent him a dozen of these rolls, and he's like, I almost broke my back picking them up. They weigh like 17 pounds. And that was 1 dozen.
Wow.
Yeah, but they're so cute. When you can't order online, you have to call and talk to Marcy. And Marcy's like at home taking your order. She handwrites out like this big sign to put on the fridge. It's just hilarious. So, but they're great. Mr. Stickies, you should check them out. I don't get anything for this. They're not sponsors. Maybe they should be. So Rhoda sent me 2 boxes of Mr. Stickies, so I'm very excited.
I'm pre-diabetic. I eat 6. It's bad.
I'm pre-diabetic. Hey, Mike, thanks for joining us. Finally in time for a change. Bill, hi, Bill. How are you? All right. So since I have a lot of news to go through tonight, I didn't pick like a light topic to talk about because I like to do that for the aforementioned reasons of you can't just do all politics all the time. Sometimes you just have to do something lighter. Sometimes you just have to do something fun. And we've done that before.
Mm-hmm.
And James has not told me that he's had some kind of incident or event that needs, to be just a good story or anything. He hasn't wrecked his car. He hasn't.
A motor, but
I'm sorry, what?
Getting a motor, but
Oh, you're getting a motor.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, you can update us on that story. That'll be the teaser.
Yeah.
We'll get an update on the story. And I have a question too. Remind me to tell you once we do the news. We'll switch to something later. Oh, that's my phone. Make sure you are streaming on Facebook. Yes, sweetie, we are. You're probably just on the wrong page, honey. Not on your page, Doug. My public page. Hold on. No.
IT and the Star has.
He doesn't know how to use Facebook. He has no clue. He asked me, he's like, "What's my login?" He has no clue. He's now like, "I'm gonna tell everybody that." Let me go. Let me just log into Facebook here. Hold on 1 second.
I like that. IT is the best.
We're so professional.
Yeah.
He doesn't, and it's because he doesn't, like I said, doesn't know how to work Facebook, and this is why. What is this? 2-factor authentication. Are you kidding me?
Isn't that good stuff? I had to do that.
All the time now. I have to every single time flipping.
Yeah.
This is so annoying. Well, you know what, honey? I'm just going to assume we're streaming on Facebook and you just are on the wrong page. Look at who's this? Dennis Cahill. Watching from South Carolina. Dennis was the police chief, I believe. You were the police chief, right, Dennis, in town here? His wife was on the rescue squad. Have finally woken up to the Hunter corruption story. We're going to talk about that. I suspect that something came to light in the investigation that would be a bigger bombshell if it came out left field. So the damage control game plan is to talk about it now, so that when the bigger story comes out, they can treat it as old news, no big deal. Joe, you are streaming on Facebook just fine. I'm here. Thank you, Joe. Doug, never mind.
No, I think it's we're going to get there.
Yeah. So, all right. Okay, so this is something that was kind of like just a blurb, and you probably have seen it, and I apologize if you've heard some of these stories. And it should have been a bigger story, but it is also wildly unsatisfying and anticlimactic. The Federal Elections Commission fined the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign more than 100,000 for secretly funding opposition research that falsely accused Trump of colluding with Russia. In other words, they colluded with a foreigner, Christopher Steele, to collude with the Russians to come up with a false story and then pass that false story about Donald Trump. In other words, they colluded with foreign elements, which I believe to influence the outcome of election. And that is what the Democrats accused Trump of for 4 years, that he was in bed with Putin. They're still doing it. They're still doing it. They won't let it rest. That he colluded with a foreign government to influence the American elections. He should be impeached. I think we impeached him over that. It's treason. It's this and everything else. And if you ever look at the Democrats, they're always doing what they accuse you of doing. They're like a cheating spouse who then accuse you of cheating. You're like, wait, no, I'm not cheating. You're cheating. Wait, what? How did this happen? That's what they do. But here, so they paid the DNC, according to the commission, and the Clinton campaign paid more than $1 million in 2016 to fund the dossier, but they labeled the payments as legal expenses. So they misreported the purpose of certain disbursements. They did that to hide them, right? So that they wouldn't be caught. They were caught. But the FEC only fined them for not reporting them properly. We impeached Donald Trump over this.
Seems light.
You think?
Yeah.
Let's see. Dan Backer filed the FEC complaint in 2018. 2018. He praised the ruling. He said, this may well be the first time in history that Hillary Clinton, one of the most evidently corrupt politicians in American history, has actually been held legally accountable, which is very true. But yeah, she paid the Clinton campaign, the DNC and the Clinton campaign. DNC paid $105,000 and the Clinton campaign paid $8,000. That's it. That's it.
Right. Good to know they got their money's worth.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Hello, Al. Al promotes us a lot on Twitter. Thank you so much, Al. Really appreciate it. Al's great. So that didn't make any news, especially on the mainstream media, because, that ties into the dossier and a lot of their listeners don't even know about it, nor do they know the real story. But the FEC just said, oh, you reported it wrong. So here's a fine.
Cute little fun.
Ridiculous. Okay, Trump news. So James, we've had the conversation. I've been saying this. I know, Mike, if you listened on WMAL, Michael, I said this all the time, that what they should do if they take the House and Senate, I don't like to count my chickens. If they take the House and Senate, that they should, impeach Joe, get him out of there. Kamala becomes the president. You deny her a VP, you put Trump in as speaker, and Trump is the de facto VP. It's brilliant, right?
Strange, but
well, yeah, because you do not have to be a member of Congress to be the Speaker of the House.
Right.
Nor do you have to be a lawyer, obviously. Did you know you don't need to be a lawyer to be on the Supreme Court?
No.
Weird. Yes.
That does seem to be an odd rule, but you can have a criminal history and be president, so that's bad.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Weird laws we have, right? There are a lot of them. So you would think you think like you can't do that. Oh, you can. I didn't know that.
Wait, who knew? You could do that? Okay. All right. So regarding the Speaker of the House thing, Trump said earlier this week on Tuesday that he does not have any desire to take Pelosi's place. He did an interview with John Solomon from Just the News, and Trump said he said, I think that it's not something I wanted. A lot of people bring it up. It's brought up all the time. It's not something I want to do. I want to look at what's happening, and then we're going to do something else. No, it's not something I would be interested in. So he said, nope, I'm not doing it. So, and I just don't like the fact that John Solomon took my idea and he got credit for it. Just saying. Here's something that made no news. So, the Southern District of New York has been investigating Trump because he overvaluated his properties and he committed a crime, and we're going to get him. The walls are closing in. If you watch MSNBC or the Yapping Yentas on The View, the walls are closing in. The walls are closing in. Remember, we keep hearing that? Yeah.
While he was in and the entirety of the time he was out.
We're going to get him this time. Well, the Southern District of New York, Cyrus Vance was the one who was leading that investigation. We want all of his, remember, all of his tax returns, and they had the man, they were looking for the crime. Well, the new Manhattan DA, Cyrus Vance, is gone, and there's the new guy, Alvin Bragg, has stopped pursuing charges against the former president and has suspended the investigation indefinitely. Another one of these angles. We got him now. Oh, he did this. He did that. Sir Adam Schiff. I've seen evidence that Donald Trump committed a crime. He's never presented that evidence ever because Donald Trump didn't commit a crime. They actually say, so these two, it was Mark Pomerantz and Kerry Dunn, who had been leading the investigation under Vance. They submitted their resignations last month after Bragg began raising doubts about pursuing a case against Trump. Here's a guy who came in and said, "No, I don't think we have anything here." He, let's see. Pomerantz wrote in his resignation letter that he believed that Trump was guilty of numerous felony violations, and it would be a grave failure of justice not to prosecute him. But Bragg said he was getting up to speed on the Trump investigation. I'm going to follow the facts. So Pomerantz and the team that he was leading before he resigned, they were ready to move forward, but Bragg was not. A source familiar with the investigation spoke with Fox News Digital and said, look at Trump's statement of financial condition, which reports his entity's assets, liabilities, and abilities to raise and use funds. According to this source, Trump did not inflate his financial statements, as the prosecutors had said and had anticipated, but instead he undervalued his assets. The exact opposite of what they were accusing him of doing. The source also told Fox News that Trump never defaulted on payments to banks. When we hear that, he doesn't pay his bills, he defaults all the time. He's a criminal. And said his statement of financial conditions included caveats which refuted claims by the DA's office. One source familiar with the investigation claimed the case against Trump was political. It was fueled by his political enemies, and told Fox News that Pomerantz shouldn't have been in the DA's office in the first place because before he joined this investigation, he took a leave of absence from his law firm. His law firm is one of the partners in that law firm is Chuck Schumer's brother.
Well, that's not a coincidence, is it?
I'm sure it's just a coincidence. So Chuck Schumer's brother it leads the law firm that this guy is one of the members of this team. Says, "Oh, I'm going to take a year off, so I'm going to go investigate Trump." They're like, "Have at it, go for it!" And
Chuck Schumer's a senator in what state?
Chuck Schumer's New York. Chucky.
Oh.
What does Mark Levin call him? Chucky Schmucky Schumer. Yeah, New York.
Yeah. That's not a coincidence at all, then.
No.
I mean, I'm still thinking maybe, it's a random universe.
Well, Bragg and his team, according to this source, realized they had no case, so they stopped it. Bragg said that the case is not provable. Clearly, that wasn't going to stop Vance, but they're bleeding Trump. They're going to try to just bleed him dry with legal bills, I guess. They also, the grand jury was run 6 months. Come April, they were up against a deadline, and they either had to get an indictment or they had to appeal for another extension and seat a whole new grand jury. And they said that Bragg reportedly told aides that in order for the case to move forward, they would need to discover new evidence. So
seems to be the big difference between Orange Man Bad and crime.
Exactly. And that is part of the problem. So I think that story should be a huge story, because here's yet another investigation about Trump. But the people who believe that Trump did all this stuff, he committed this, they're never going to hear that story. They're never going to hear that, no, he did the total opposite of what he was accused of doing.
You just follow the evidence.
I know. All right. I know. I'm going to share this with us here. Hold on. Share. I got to make sure I do this properly. Chrome tab. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to share this is a last bit of news about President Trump. Uh, I've always said that the left is trying to, do what the Egyptians did. Remember, the Egyptians would like if there was a pharaoh they didn't like, they would hammer his name out and like they take his face off of all the monuments and everything, like he didn't exist. That's what he
Yeah.
did. And the Romans did the same thing. They're trying to do that to Trump. Listen to this. It's a little bit over 2 minutes. So listen to this. This is a man. Now, I don't they do say in this article that they don't know that this is real, but supposedly it is. And if you have one of these Google Home Pods, I have none of these listening devices in my home. None of them. So I don't know how this works. I don't have Alexa. I don't have Siri. My lights don't turn on automatic. None of that stuff in my home. But this guy has this Google Home Pod. Now let's see if this works. Okay. Now here you go. Listen to this.
Google some questions. Here's my Google Pod. It's amazing. She knows all about certain things, but other obvious things she can't tell you a thing about. Let me show you. Hey, Google, who is Barack Obama?
According to Wikipedia, Barack Hussein Obama II is an American politician who served as the 44th President
Hey,
of the
Google,
United States.
who is Hillary Clinton?
According to Wikipedia, Hillary Diane Clinton is an American politician, diplomat, lawyer, writer,
Hey,
and
Google,
public speaker.
who is Nancy Pelosi?
According to Wikipedia, Nancy Patricia Pelosi is an American politician serving as Speaker of the United
Hey,
States
Google,
House of Representatives.
who is Donald Trump?
Sorry, I don't have general information about Donald Trump, but I might know some specifics if you ask.
Hey, Google, is Donald Trump the president?
My apologies, I don't understand.
Hey, Google, was Donald Trump the president?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Hey, Google, was Donald Trump the 45th president?
I don't understand.
Hey, Google, was George W. Bush the 43rd president?
According to Wikipedia.org, George Walker Bush, born July 6, 1946, is an American politician who served as the 43rd President of the United States from 2001 to 2009. Do you want a little more context?
Hey, Google, who was the 45th president of the United States?
On the website TrumpWhiteHouse.archives.gov, they say, Trump is the 45th President of the United States.
Oh, they say. They say. How interesting. Let me just, in case we think it was an anomaly or we made a mistake. Hey, Google, who is Donald Trump?
Sorry, I don't have general information about Donald Trump, but I might know some specifics
Hey,
if you ask.
Google, who is Donald J. Trump?
Sorry, I don't have general information about Donald Trump.
Okay, so just in case you were wondering, Google suppresses information. It's very, very obvious. You have to take a roundabout, very specific way of asking it a question about.
Okay. And there you go. So
I Wikipedia Donald Trump just to see if Google goes off Wikipedia and maybe Wikipedia had erased information about Donald Trump. All of Donald Trump's information is on Wikipedia. So it's not like Google's pulling it from Wikipedia and it's not there. And also we haven't done that. We don't have one of those devices, neither of us. So we can't do that to check it ourselves. I'd love for somebody to try that and have us check it.
yeah. If somebody can do that, that's a great idea. And I credit to American Thinker. They're the ones who found that. So
But that is fascinating if it's true, because like I said, all that Wikipedia information on Donald Trump's right there. It's not. I mean, I can show you.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to see, there it is.
Oh yeah, I believe you. I can't see it, but I believe you.
Yeah, it's there.
James says the Clintons still have the Haitian fund money to pay with the fine with. Oh, I've got something coming up on about that. Very similar. I got something coming up about that. He also says you used a much more polite term to reference Schumer than I usually do. I used Mark Levin, the great one's term, Chucky Shucky. What does he call her? Chucky Schmucky Schumer. That's what he calls him. Your feed keeps getting off the Google feature on the phone. That's why none of my things are hooked up to Google.
Yeah, I honestly, I can turn on the light. Like the getting up process is probably healthier for me. Actually, just
For
get up
you?
and move across
For
the street.
you?
the hall.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were a physical disaster.
Yeah, I should move a little bit. So I'll
Yes.
get up and turn things on and off. And, sometimes I like to actually, like, if I'm going to, I don't know, move, open a door, turn the oven on or off, that kind of stuff. I like to look at the things, and it's a tactile thing,
Right. But yet you have Google do it for you.
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't use one of those devices. I don't.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I don't get the need for one. There's nothing I do that I think like I need to tell Google to do it and have it automatically do it for me. I don't even use Siri on my phone. Like I just put it in my phone because I just don't need it.
Yeah, I don't have an iPhone. I have a Droid, so I don't even have that. We have something else. I forget what it is. Hey Google on the feed. Phone heard it and opened web page.
That's funny.
So if anybody could try that and put it in the comments, I'd love to know if that's what happens. That's a great idea, James. All right, moving on. More news that you haven't heard that has been like a blip. You have to go search for it, but I think you should know. And I think you probably want to know. Washington Times has a story on a man named John Lott Jr. Now, I've interviewed John Lott several times over the year, probably far more than I realize over the years. My back. He runs the Crime Prevention Research Center, and he's a major figure when it comes to gun statistics and things like that. So that's who John Lott is. He did research on the 2020 election, and he's a numbers guy. So he teased out numbers by comparing Democrat-dominant areas to Republican-dominant areas over the past two presidential elections, so 2016 and 2020, particularly in places where claims of election fraud were reported in 2020. And he did it for Georgia and Pennsylvania. Okay.
Right.
He says he looked at 6 swing states. He did a deeper dive in neighborhoods in Georgia and Pennsylvania, but overall he did 6 swing states. The data he crunched found that voter turnout in Republican areas increased from 2016 to 2020.
Okay.
Voter turnout in Democrat areas dropped, except in the areas where voter fraud was alleged. That increase in those areas only where voter fraud was alleged counted for 255, what he calls 255,000 excess votes for Mr. Biden above what you would statistically expect, because voter turnout dropped in those 6 swing states.
Okay.
Except in the areas where fraud was alleged.
Okay.
In those areas, it went up. So if you're looking at it statistically, my hunch is that is a statistical anomaly.
Okay.
And that resulted in 255,000 excess votes. He told the Washington Times more heavily Democratic counties actually had a slightly lower turnout in 2020, except for counties where vote fraud was alleged. In those counties, you had a huge increase in turnout. In some of those swing states, you had counties where vote fraud was alleged. In some of those swing states, you had counties where vote fraud wasn't alleged, and yet you only had huge increases in turnout where vote fraud was alleged. He also then looked at specific voting precincts that touched each other, but where one was inside a Republican-dominant county and the other was inside a Democrat-leading county. Okay?
Okay.
Where there were fraud accusations in the Democrat-leaning counties. He found that in-person voting for the neighboring precincts was about the same. So in-person in the Democrat county and the Republican county was about the same, people who showed up to vote in person. However, in the Democrat-leaning precincts, in the Democrat-leaning county, absentee or mailed balloting was different. There was in-person voting was the same, but it tilted towards Democrats in the Democrat precinct. Now, I don't know whether Democrats really do vote by mail more often, or we have just been conditioned to believe that and expect that, so that when it happens, we're like, oh yeah, well, Democrats vote by mail more often. So you don't look for the fire. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
You don't
Yeah.
look for
And I don't know the
anything.
answer. Right.
Yeah. He said there's no clear reason why absentee turnout alone should increase in just the Democratic jurisdiction. You're comparing two tiny areas that are very homogeneous, very similar to each other, in some cases across the street from each other. And the thing that differs from these two for the absentee ballots is where the ballots were counted.
Okay.
Wasn't it Lenin who said it's not who casts the vote, it's who counts the votes, right? He said his numbers suggest the level of mischief is significantly larger than the few cases that have already been brought before the courts. There's a man named William Shughart, who is the editor of Public Choice, because this study that he's done has been peer reviewed, and it is being published by this publication, Public Choice, which is a peer reviewed publication. I don't know exactly what they talk about because none of us are reading it or getting it, and we're never going to see it. So, but anyway, it's peer reviewed, so that's important.
Right. Yeah. It is.
He said, to my knowledge, Dr. Lott is the first scholar to examine the most recent U.S. presidential election at the voting precinct level and actually present statistical evidence supporting allegations of fraud in at least two key states, Georgia and Pennsylvania. Lott said in a 2021 op-ed in the Times, two Stanford University professors argued that Mr. Lott relied on faulty data. The data you have is wrong. So Lott said he reworked the data to accommodate those two professors' concerns, and he said the excess votes still persist. So there you go. Let's see. In Georgia, he looked for both elections at precincts in Fulton County, a Democrat stronghold, and 4 Republican-heavy counties that border Fulton County. Something weird happened in absentee ballots for 2020, where there was an unusual drop-off in Mr. Trump's share in Fulton County. By one calculation, the unusual drop in Trump votes in Fulton amounted to over 11,350, almost equal to the 12,670 vote margin that Biden won by. Absentee ballots are counted at the central office in Georgia, whereas whereas regular in-person votes are cast and counted at the local precinct. So,
not who casts, who counts. Interesting.
Exactly.
Interesting thought.
Oh my God. Okay, so my husband just sent me this picture. He weighed the 2 boxes of Mr. Stickies, the cinnamon buns, the sticky buns that Rhoda, my girl, sent me. 18.2 pounds.
Ooh.
18.2 pounds.
That's a lot of sticky bun.
18 pounds of sticky bun she sent me. Holy Christmas. And I know because when I sent them, for a dozen, they used to be like $22 now, and then shipping, right? Which I don't know, it was a couple bucks. Now, when I called Marcy last time, she's like, well, the cost of goods has gone up and the cost of shipping has gone up. I'm like, I understand. So I sent some out to Montana, and I had to pay extra to get them out there because it's out there. And that cost me altogether, like, it was I want to say $40. So she sent 2. Never mind. Okay, so there's another, listen to this. Again, talking about the vote, stories you're not hearing. This is from the Epoch Times. So that one was from the Washington Times. This one's from the Epoch Times. I try to get stories from a bunch of different resources so that everybody's like, oh, it's just Breitbart, or oh, it's just this. So I try to get them from a bunch of different places. True the Vote, which is a public interest organization, they presented to the state assembly in Wisconsin. The state assembly's Committee on Campaigns and Elections is having a hearing about what happened in Wisconsin. They're trying to get to the bottom of what happened to find out if any shenanigans happened, and if so, how do they prevent it from happening again? They found at least 137,500 absentee ballots were cast through vote trafficking throughout several of Wisconsin's largest cities. Vote trafficking is illegal in Wisconsin.
Okay.
All right. But they found at least 137,500. Ballot trafficking is where you take absentee ballots and votes and they solicit them, sometimes in exchange for money or other valuables. So
That's
basically,
yeah.
you buy somebody's vote.
That's not right at all.
No, they're then collected through a process called harvesting, which ballot harvesting is legal in places like California. And then they're delivered to drop boxes by another person, an intermediary, someone other than the voter, who is often paid a per ballot fee. So they get paid for every ballot that they harvest, they solicit, harvest, and then drop off.
So you're basically, let's take even the money aspect out of it. You're allowed to go around to people and go, hey, please vote. We'll gather up all the votes, and then they get dropped off at some location where somebody gathers them, and then that's ballot harvesting, right? And then
Right, that's right, and that's in they do that in California. But what they can do then is they could just go through and they only go to the Democrat areas,
yeah,
and only harvest those votes. Democrats are very smart that way. Republicans
right.
are not very smart that way.
And I just want to make sure I understood the process. That's what we're talking about, right? That's essentially
yes.
what you're doing. Farming votes. You're going, I want to get a bunch of these people all together, and you're all going to vote. And then we're going to take those votes. We're going to make sure we gather the votes up, seal them all up, take them to a place, and then they get delivered.
Or they go to someone's home in, a poorer area and say, hey, you got your mail-in ballot. I'll tell you what, if you give me your mail-in ballot, I'll fill it out for you. Don't worry about it. And, in exchange for you giving me that ballot, I'll, buy a lunch or something. And they may even take them filled out, but they don't. These are people who maybe normally wouldn't have voted before. So based on the True the Vote cyber expert Greg Phillips, who did a 15-month study of election practices in Georgia, Arizona, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Michigan, he estimates that at least 4.8 million votes were trafficked nationally in just those states. 4.8 million. According to the True the Vote report, 242 intermediaries in Metro Atlanta made 5,668 stops at drop boxes during the elections in late 2020. 242 people made 5,668 stops at drop boxes. God knows how many ballots they put in every time. In its report, True the Vote said it obtained 4 million minutes of Dropbox video surveillance tape that helped document their Georgia findings. Many of the traffickers we spoke to, they spoke to some of them, do not recognize what they are doing as being a problem. They didn't know it was illegal. They thought that this is a great way to earn money. They probably saw some kind of ad on Craigslist or Facebook or wherever, and they showed up and they're like, here, this is what we need you to do. So they didn't know it was illegal. They found in Arizona, 202 intermediaries made 4,282 separate visits to ballot boxes in Maricopa County alone. Several Arizonans have been indicted for election law violations, one conviction. They told the committee, this cyber expert told the committee that in the states they studied, what they did was they purchased from commercial brokers 10 trillion unique cell phone identity signals called pings. I didn't know you could buy these things. Did you know this?
No.
I had no idea. You can buy this.
But I'm sure it's valuable data, so.
Yeah. So then they use geospatial signal analysis, which tells you where, the phone is at any given time,
Yep.
Which is why I don't understand why they can't find the person who planted the bombs outside the DNC and the RNC on January 5th, because the guy was on the phone several times. So why can't we just ping his phone and find out, ping the phones in that area and find the guy? But they haven't done that, or they didn't do it. So they did this, and they were able to reconstruct a 4-dimension, what they call pattern of life of cell phone holders. In Wisconsin, they focused primarily on the Milwaukee County area. October 20th through November 3rd, 138 individuals each visited the location of a non-governmental organization, an NGO, at least 5 times and made a combined total of 3,588 trips to absentee ballot drop boxes. So what these people were doing is they were visiting what they call NGOs and then going to the drop boxes. these non-governmental agencies. That's an average of 26 trips per person to drop boxes in Milwaukee. Wisconsin statute provides that an absentee ballot envelope in which the cast absentee ballot is placed must be mailed by the elector or delivered in person to the municipal clerk issuing the ballot or ballots. Now, they just had a circuit court ruling in Wisconsin that said that you cannot no longer use drop boxes for absentee voting. They say that violates Wisconsin law, which they knew when they put it into place under the guise of the pandemic. It didn't go through the legislature, and it does violate their law. That is now going to the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Drop boxes, if unattended by a municipal clerk or in an unauthorized location, are illegal. When one of the people on the committee, a Republican, asked to name the NGOs in the study that were repeatedly visited, they declined to do so. They chose not to do that. They also were asked if True the Vote could identify the 138 alleged ballot harvesters known as mules. If you're in a job and they call you a mule, you probably don't want to do that job, because I immediately think drug cartel.
100%.
Right?
Yep.
I don't want to do a job where they call me a mule.
Yeah.
And True the Vote says, we know the names, but we're not disclosing them. Anyone can buy them commercially. However, law enforcement would need a warrant to do so. I don't understand why law enforcement needs a warrant, but Bruce says Bill de Blasio's daughter said publicly that the Democrats stole the 2020 presidential election. There's never been a Democrat who has lost an election 3 days after the polls closed, when the Democrat candidate was ahead at the close of the polls on election night. Yeah. There you go. And one more for you. This is from Breitbart. This is out of North Carolina. Oh my gosh. Look at, can you see the size of this thing?
Oh, that's not camera distortion. That thing's big.
This thing's huge. Look at this thing.
Wow.
If you missed the beginning of the show, I was saying, so my friend Rhoda, she's 90, and she lived next door to me when I was working at WMAL. And I sent Rhoda these cinnamon rolls from Mr. Sticky's. They're really good. Look them up online. And they're not stupid expensive, but they weigh, she sent us 2 dozen. They weigh 18.2 pounds. 2 dozen weigh 18.2 pounds. And so she sent me 2 dozen because she was hoping that my broken leg would feel better. So.
That's nice.
Oh my God, they're so good.
You're eating that whole one tonight.
No, I'm not. Well, we'll split it. Oh my gosh, look at the cinnamon. Look at the cinnamon on this thing.
That's insane.
It's incredible. Oh my gosh. Oh.
That's worth losing a foot over.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're talking about you from your diabetes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, me. Yeah, not you. Yeah. No, your foot
my God.
Fine. Yeah.
That is so good. Oh.
Yeah.
It's cinnamony. That is unbelievable. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh. She's a big fan. She'd always ask me to bring sticky buns from New Jersey. And you gotta go to the right bakery, because you know an Italian bakery is not going to have them. You got to find like a German bakery, or
Yeah, the right kind of bakery.
So.
Yeah.
Wow. Whew. All right. One more story that I think you should know about regarding the election, because we should be kept up on this, and no one's reporting this stuff. And I had to go to 3 different sources to find 3 different stories.
Well, there's a lot of boom going on in the world, A lot of boom boom.
There's a lot of what?
A lot of boom boom.
Oh, boom boom. Are you
boom.
talking about boom boom like Ukraine and Russia, or are you talking boom boom like bam chicka wow wow?
Well, a lot of both, actually. There's a lot of music going on. There's a lot of, mostly in protest going on to the war in Ukraine and Russia. So, yeah, a lot of good protests going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's got that kind of time? I don't have time to protest anything.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, so in North Carolina, according to the Public Interest Legal Foundation, or PILF, tens of thousands of deceased and duplicative voter registrations were found after the 2020 election in North Carolina.
You mean grandma?
They cross-referenced state records. They found that 7,933 North Carolinians were still registered to vote, quote, long after death. Roughly 12,940 deceased registrants were found on the rolls in the spring of 2020. A few examples. Hoyle Helms was a World War II veteran who died in 1997.
But he just had to vote for Biden, I guess, this year.
I guess.
2020. Yeah.
A candidate so good, you crawl out of the grave to vote for him.
I'm right here. Get that in there.
Mary Coleman. Let's see. Mary Coleman died in 2003 and remained active on the state's voter rolls for nearly 20 years. Oh God. So there's also a lot of people who were found to have registered twice in North Carolina under the same name, but they use, like, instead of just John Public, they use John Q Public, despite using the same address. So they were mailed 2 ballots. And they appear as 2 different people. North Carolina also broke their record for unaccounted and undeliverable ballots in 2020. 86,000 unaccounted ballots that were supposedly requested by voters. Floating around in the universe.
Floating around the universe.
This is so good. Doug, you better come take this or I'm going to eat it.
Said that was going to happen.
Of course, so good.
Uh-huh.
All right.
That is not, I would like to say that was a shocking story there, but that's a story as old as voting.
And I think this happened, but think about it. How many people have moved? Like my friend Dennis, who's watching, he moved from New Jersey down to South Carolina, he and his wife, and we miss them terribly because they were a lot of fun. Do you, I wonder if they, actually bothered calling up the Board of Elections in the state of New Jersey and said, hey, take me off the rolls. I'm moving to South Carolina.
Right.
And I don't even know if you can call. You probably have to go up. I don't think you could just call, because think of all the people you could take off the rolls. All my liberal friends. I don't know. I'm moving. You could call up and just say, I'm moving. I'm out of here. So, but how many people do that? They probably don't. So a lot of people will then register in the new states, and now you're registered in 2 states to vote.
Right.
So they don't know that you've moved unless you tell them.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. So who was it who brought up? I think it was James who said, James earlier said that the Clintons still have the Haitian fraud money to pay the fine with, that they got fined for their role in the, so far in the dossier thing.
Yeah, I don't think they're broke.
No. So Joe Biden, if you don't know this, had a son, Beau, who was in the military and died of cancer. I don't know if you've heard, because he never talks about his son, Beau.
Yeah, I did know. But right.
Listen, I have friends who have had children who have died.
Yeah.
They managed to get through a conversation without bringing up their dead child every single time. Joe Biden trots out poor Beau Biden at every turn. And it's kind of disgusting. I don't know. It's to me, it's pandering. It's I understand that you never get over that grief. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
But I have a friend whose son was killed in the second Gulf War. And she and I can talk politics, and she doesn't bring him up at every conversation. But
you shouldn't use your dead children as weapons.
And I feel like he does. I'm like, oh, here we go. And he always brings up Beau Biden. Always. So they started a foundation in his name, the Beau Biden Foundation for the Protection of Children. And they got an infusion of almost $2 million from the Biden Foundation itself, because they shut down in 2020. They shut down because the election was coming up. So they shut down the Biden Foundation, and they sent that money to the Beau Biden Foundation for Children. It also got about $250,000 from some other people, like, let's see, Patricia Daly Lewis, who served as Delaware Deputy Attorney General under the late Attorney General Beau Biden. She runs the Beau Biden Foundation for the Protection of Children. And she made for running the foundation $150,660 in 2020 with a $3,500 bonus. Okay. Joshua Alcorn was a consultant. He's on both Beau Biden and Joe Biden's political campaigns as a consultant. He served as the COO. He made $131,437 on the Beau Biden Foundation. He has since stepped down from the Beau Biden Foundation. Charity Watch says, which is a watchdog group, if you want to know like how great the some charity that you want to donate to is doing. I think I have sugar sweats.
Sugar's good.
I'm going into a diabetic coma from that, from the sticky bun. But so Charity Watch said, listen to this, that the Beau Biden charity took in, so basically almost $2 million, but they only put out $544,961 in 2020 for their stated purpose of protecting children from abuse. That's it. They spend more money on the people who serve on the board that I just told you, who are all connected politically to Joe Biden. And it's shocking because they wind up then getting jobs with the administration. It's weird how that works.
Doesn't it always? I
know. So Charity Watch says that nonprofits generally spend at least 75% of their budgets on programs. In this case, it was just 58% is spending is going to the cause. Haley Hunter was also on the board. There was another board who Hunter Biden served on. Let me tell you, Haley is the only family member still on the board. The group said that following Joe Biden's 2021 inauguration that it wouldn't take any more money from lobbyists or foreign donors. Seriously, pinky swear. They pinky sweared on it. And they would release the names of their major contributors on their website because they wanted to increase transparency. But they refused to provide a copy of their tax filing, 2020 tax filing, to the Post, the New York Post, in early March. And they later said that the document was available on the GuideStar website. I don't know what that is. The document was posted to the site earlier this week. It includes a list of top donors. As of today, it's gone. The donors included a medical device manufacturer and a foundation, the Massimo Foundation. Both are headed by a man named Joe Kiani, who gave $750,000 to the pro-Biden Unite the Country PAC in 2020. And he was named last year to a presidential advisory committee on science and technology. And his company got millions in government grants. There you go.
Again, that's a story old as time.
Mm-hmm. There's a piece hanging off of this that I should eat. And
you should.
I'm sitting in bed all day. I'm going to weigh 10,000 pounds.
Well, then you'll have
okay.
Goals.
I'm sorry?
Then you'll have goals.
As soon as I can walk on my leg again, I have to start running up and down the stairs.
That's right.
Okay, so we know that the New York Times came out and said, and someone earlier said that, someone earlier had said that, they're doing this to kind of like soften the landing for when all this stuff comes out about, the election and Hunter Biden and the laptop and everything. So they're slowly letting it out a little bit so that it's not, the slow drip, 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 so that it's not a big bombshell when it comes out. And this way, if it's a slow drip, 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 the people who consume the mainstream media and, the useful idiots won't know any of this happened. A lot of this news you don't hear. That's why I do it. That's why I like to have this conversation. Well, now the Washington Post is coming out and saying that they have authenticated thousands of emails from Hunter Biden's laptop. They published a lengthy report yesterday about Biden's multi-million-dollar financial ties to the Chinese energy company CEFC China Energy. They said over the course of 14 months, the Chinese energy conglomerate and its executives paid $4.8 million to entities controlled by Hunter Biden and his uncle Jim, Joe's brother. But not the big guy. Not the big guy. They cover for him. They say they found that. Yeah, don't look at that. They said that they found no evidence that President Biden personally benefited from or knew details about the transactions with CEFC. Every time we hear that Joe Biden doesn't know about something, we find something else on Hunter Biden's laptop that proves that he does. Like pictures of him with some of these donors and stuff that I had no idea why he was going to the Ukraine. I didn't know. And then a picture shows up with him with, the Hunter and the two of the guys. Exactly. Exactly. And I see people on Twitter going, how do you know that's real? That could have been altered. And I'm like, okay. So they cover for Biden in it. They had a separate report, and they explained how they analyzed Hunter Biden's laptop. Thousands of emails purportedly from the laptop computer of Hunter Biden are authentic communications that can be verified through cryptographic signatures from Google and other technology companies. So now the Washington Post falling in line and saying, oh, yeah. But see, they don't care. Am I wrong, James? They don't care because they got Biden elected, and that was the goal. They don't care.
Yeah, now it's to dump him because they know it's not going to happen in 2024. Now it's time to prep dumping him. So they're setting it up. So Hunter's going to take a fall, clearly. Jim's, I guess, going to take a fall, and then when it's time, Joe will take a fall, and they'll have somebody new for 2024.
Yeah, but Mike, who?
Well, he can't be 2024. First of all, he won't win. They know that. They're not done. He won't win in 2024. So whoever they're prepping for 2024 is going to be the hand, that puts the knife in his back, obviously. That's going to be the Democrats to come out and go, it's time to admit it, or time to come out and, destroy the Democrat Party and just say, hey, we all know that he's the corrupt one in the party, and that'll be the turning over of the party, and whoever went there ready to sink will sink. And, Hillary Clinton will probably, put the big knife in his back, too, I'm sure. She'll be part of that team because, so it's just a matter of time. And that's fine. Look, he's probably ready to go. Right? I mean, we all see that he's, it's happening. So it's gonna happen. It just was,
So you think he lasts until 24?
I don't know. I think he lasts as long as he lasts. But I mean, the inevitable thing here is that, it'll all go out in some fashionable stabbing in the back. Ah, glorious. The new guy gets to come in and yay, big hero, and
Yeah, I don't know who it's going to be. James said that he had to do the unregister in Arizona thing, and it was a back and forth of nonsense and pain in the butt requirements with both states. Yeah, I can imagine.
Sure.
So here's the thing, though. I think that Hunter, this is my prediction. I think Hunter's going to go down for like some tax problem. Yeah. I don't think he's going to go down for anything big. Like, he's not going to go down for lying on his gun registration form, his handgun registration form. He's not going to go down for that. You or I would go to jail and never be allowed to own a gun again.
Rich people never do.
No. So he's not going to go down on that. He's going to, so it's not going to be anything big. It's going to be something small, slap on the wrist type thing, like the Clinton Foundation, the $8,000 fine for, improperly filing, the payments to a foreign agent to dig up dirt on Donald Trump to influence a presidential election. That $8,000 is no big deal to them.
None of these people do.
Right. So I don't think Hunter's going to go down in the traditional sense. I think he gets slapped with a fine. He does no jail time. None of it's going to get connected to Joe. Republicans, if they take the Senate at the midterms, and I say if, never say.
No, never.
Never. If they take the Senate, they'll do what they do, and they'll have commissions, and they'll have committees, and they'll do this and they'll do that, and it's going to be long and drawn out, and everybody's going to be bored. And by the time anything gets done, the statute of limitations is over, and no one goes anywhere, and we'll just get a report about all the people who broke the law.
Because rich people don't want rich people sniffing around rich people.
That's true. That's true.
A lot of no good.
I will tell you, this smells good though.
I'll bet.
Oh man, so cinnamony goodness.
I mean, I don't think Mitch McConnell wants anybody sniffing around his money. Any more than Schumer wants anybody sniffing around his money.
For right? 2 reasons. They might sniff up the goods.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Stay away from what's on that table. But
I'm here all week.
Then have to You know, these people don't want people sniffing around their money and their things and their lives, and any more than people in Hollywood or any of these
Yeah.
people. They're all rich. They're all just, ugh.
Yeah.
The swamp, as your buddy Trump likes to say, right?
It's true. It's true. And you're right. Mitch McConnell's part of it. Read Peter Schweizer.
They don't care. You really
Peter Schweitzer's book is all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Wisconsin had harvesting in senior living homes. Yes, they did. That happened all over the place. James, you mentioned Hunter and the gun thing. Mark Kelly in Arizona willfully tried to commit a straw man purchase and nothing was ever done about it. That's very true because he's Mark Kelly. 100% right. It's like Madonna saying, I want to go burn down the White House. If you were a grandma who walked through the doors of the Capitol that were being held open by Capitol Police, you stayed within on January 6th, you stayed within the purple roads, took a couple of selfies and left. You were stormed by SWAT teams because, you know, you were a Trump supporter. But Madonna can say, I want to burn down the White House. And they're like, oh, she didn't really mean it. Here's another one where people aren't going to get punished. So there's been a lot. This has been in the news about those CIA guys who signed that letter saying that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. They did it just before the 2020 election because they wanted to make that story go away. And everybody had, you know, they had to protect, you know, they had to protect Hunter. Hi, Paul. They had to protect Joe, rather. So there were 51 of them, I think, who signed this letter.
Okay.
And one of the guys who signed it's a guy named John Cipher, a longtime CIA vet. He retired in 2014, a 28-year career in the National Clandestine Service at the CIA. I want to work there.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds fun. But can you trust anyone? I wouldn't trust anybody. So he's one of the intelligence officials who claimed that the laptop story, quote, has all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. And this was a big deal. The left trotted this out and goes, look at all of these former CIA people and intelligence officers who signed this letter saying, backing it up, that the laptop is nothing. This is Russian disinformation, right? Because they had to get that out there because if people found out about it, you know, this letter comes out, they take the New York Post off of Twitter. If you post anything, I got banned on Facebook for something, a Fox News article that just talked about where to vote in New Jersey or how voting was being done in New Jersey. I got kicked off Facebook until after the election because of it. Like, it just tells you how to vote in New Jersey. I'm not quite sure why I was kicked off, but I was, because they were kicking everyone off. Anything about voting, anything about the election. So this guy, John Cipher, has long defended the dossier. He is a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council. The letter at times did note, we do not have evidence of Russian involvement, but they said our experience makes us deeply suspicious that the Russian government played a significant role in the case. And the letter argued that if we are right, this is Russia trying to influence how Americans vote in this election. And they said our view that the Russians are involved in, and expressed our view that the Russians are involved in the Hunter Biden email issue. Yeah, they were involved, all right. They were paying him. That's how they were involved.
Okay.
All right. So last week he claimed, so he got into it. He with Rick Grinnell. I love Rick Grinnell. I love him. I've had the opportunity to interview him. My only disappointment with Rick Grinnell is he was the ambassador to Germany, so I'd always try to speak to him in German on the air when we would interview him, and he can't speak German. I was like, what? You're the ambassador to Germany. How can you not speak German? So that was my disappointment with Rick Grinnell. So he tweeted on Friday about Clarence Thomas should have to resign because Clarence Thomas's wife holds views that they don't like.
Okay.
So Rick Grinnell responds and says, didn't John Cipher sign a letter 3 weeks before the 2020 election saying don't look at Hunter Biden's laptop because it's Russian disinformation? Now he's lecturing people about ethical behavior. These people have no shame. And off they go. Off they go. All right. So then Cipher tweets back at him and makes a joke. And then Grinnell says, you know, you're resorting to gay slurs. That's what people do when they can't debate. Then Cipher says, what's his first name? John Cipher. Cipher says, I lost the election for Trump. Well, then I feel pretty good about my influence. So then Grinnell responds and says, Cipher is proud that he helped swing an election by claiming Russian disinformation. I hope the new Republican Congress subpoenas him. Cipher replies, having you far away from responsibility is a good thing. Subpoena away, you might actually read the letter first. And then said, I take special pride in personally swinging the election away from Trump.
That sounds iffy.
Then he tweets shortly after that, this is sarcasm. Now it's sarcasm. Someone called him a liar, and he said, I guess sarcasm is too sophisticated for you. I didn't lie. And no, a retired guy signing a letter accurately pointing out that the Russians amplify political stupidity about a non-candidate hardly swings a national election. And then it goes back and forth between him and Rick and Nell, and he just keeps backpedaling, saying that I didn't say the laptop wasn't Biden's. I said the Russians were amplifying and exploiting the issue to damage the U.S. So, but I find it interesting that he said he was proud to have swung the election for Trump. And then when called out, he's like, oh, I was just kidding. I was just joking. All right. I'm not going to do this story because we're kind of running late here. I'm not going to do that story about Hunter Biden's connection to the biolabs in the Ukraine. Did you see that story?
No.
You didn't see it? Oh, okay.
No.
All right. So very quickly, Matt Gaetz wants to strip all the people who signed that letter of their intel clearances, which I think is great because I don't it's called the Spook Who Cried Wolf resolution. Hilarious.
Okay.
So he said that each one of the 51 signatories continue to stand by the contents of the letter. So he wants them stripped of their clearances. I don't understand why when you leave the government, you'd still have access to stuff. Like, why do you still have clearance? Why did we not take that away from you?
Yeah.
Shouldn't we?
Yeah, unless you're a specialist of some form.
Right. But then we pull you back and we give you clearance to see what we need you to see.
Correct.
But like, why does like Leon Panetta still have a security clearance?
Right. You're on the clock.
Right. I don't understand. He couldn't speak German. Yeah, it's true, Linnea. Sorry. Yeah, he couldn't speak German as the ambassador. I was a little upset.
That's funny.
And listen, my German is rudimentary at best right now because I haven't spoken it in so long. So he couldn't keep up with me.
A little out of date.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not out of date. It's just that I haven't spoken it in so long that
Well, sure, not speaking street German.
I'm sorry?
Not speaking street German.
Well, I grew up speaking like street German, and then I learned like official German in high school and college.
Right.
Yeah, look at this. John Brennan still has clearance. Why? Doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
All right, so let me tell you about Hunter Biden. Since you hadn't seen this story, James, I'll just quickly go through this. Because again, the point of this, if you're just joining us, is to bring you news that you're probably not hearing covered by anybody else. You got to look for this stuff. Like you have to go. I had to go to Epic Times. I have to go to Washington Times, Washington Examiner, Breitbart, Fox, Newsmax, like all these different websites to find stories. Just the News is a good one. To find the stories that no one else is talking about, like all those election stories. So Russia asserted that Hunter was, quote, financing biological laboratories in the Ukraine. Now we find out that, well, that is based in truth.
Okay. Go on.
Yes. Okay. According to, they found in emails on Hunter Biden's infamous laptop, they found that he played a role in helping a California defense contractor analyze killer diseases and bioweapons in the Ukraine. Moscow claimed that secret American biological warfare labs in the Ukraine were a justification for its unprovoked invasion of the neighboring country last month, according to the New York Post. And then it doubled down, saying that the labs produced biochemical weapons at the Biden family's behest at the request of the Bidens. They said Russia's State Duma Speaker Volodin said U.S. President Joe Biden himself is involved in the creation of biolaboratories in Ukraine. An investment fund run by his son, Hunter Biden, funded research and the implementation of the United States military biological program. It is obvious that Joe Biden, as his father and the head of state, was aware of that activity. He also demanded a congressional investigation and a White House explanation.
Interesting.
U.S. intelligence officials had earlier dismissed Russia's messaging as war propaganda. They said that Ukraine's network of biological labs dedicated to pathogen research were not secret and had publicly received funding from Washington. Well, if they weren't secret, then that's okay. Oh, well, then it's all right.
Guess we're good. Guess we're all good now.
And off we go.
Done and done.
Yeah. So Russia's new claim, though, is that that Hunter's investment fund was involved in raising money for biolab projects in Ukraine is accurate, according to the emails. Rosemont Seneca Technology Partners invested $500,000 in the San Francisco pathogen research company MetaBiota and raised millions more through firms including Goldman Sachs. Hunter introduced MetaBiota to officials at Burisma. We all know Burisma, the Ukrainian gas company where Hunter was a board member. And this was allegedly for a science project involving biolabs in Ukraine, according to emails on Hunter Biden's laptop. But this is the administration that when Joe Biden said twice that Putin had to be removed, right? Putin had to be removed. Then when he's asked, then his administration walks back what he said. And then when he's asked, don't you think that that's provocative, saying that, are you advocating for regime change? He's like, I never said that. Wait, no, you did twice. But they sit up there and they flat out look you in the eye and go, no, what you're saying happened. That didn't happen. Like, no, it happened. We can't all be crazy.
Never. Those are not the droids you're looking for. Those are not the words you're looking for.
2 + 2 = 5, Wilson.
There are 5 lights. Sorry, the Star Trek reference.
Oh, is that it? Is that what it is?
Star Trek Next Generation, yeah.
Ich bin
anybody know that? If anybody in the comments knows that Star Trek Next Generation reference, I'm just curious.
Are you looking for fellow dorks? Are you looking for fellow dorks? Is that what it is? You want company? You want company? Ich bin ein Mary Walter Radio. You are a Mary Walter Radio. Okay, James. He's an actual Mary Walter Radio. Thank you. So a memo from a MetaBiota official to Hunter Biden in 2014, Joe Biden was VP, said the company could assert Ukraine's cultural and economic independence from Russia. There's also a letter from an email from the vice president of that company about geopolitical issues involving the company's research in 2014, 2 months after Russia invaded and annexed Crimea. The U.S. awarded $23.9 million to MetaBiota later in 2014. And then Hunter bragged to investors that his company organized funding for MetaBiota and helped to get new customers, including government agencies. So he's in it up to his eyeballs, but they're just going to keep covering. Lastly, Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson. I love Chuck Grassley. Nice guy. My favorite, though, I will say Louis Gohmert's my absolute favorite, but he's leaving and he's going to Texas, which makes me, he's going to go back. He's running for attorney general in Texas. So that makes me sad. But Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson, man, the two of them are like they're like the hair, like they're just plodding along. They just keep going and they keep going. And they keep going and they keep making these presentations to no one's listening, no one's paying any attention, but God bless them. They keep going and they keep getting FOIA requests and they keep getting information. So according to documents obtained by Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson, energy company CEFC, which is an arm of the Chinese government, paid Wells Fargo Clearing Services $100,000 and designated further credit to Oswako, which is Hunter's firm. There you go, James and James. James. Oh, look at James and James. James Anderson, great guy, nice guy, just like you. Grassley said on the Senate floor, there's no middleman in this transaction. This is $100,000 from what is effectively an arm of the communist Chinese government direct to Hunter Biden because they have bank statements and things that were apparently on his computer. He got everything on this computer, porn and bank statements. Bank records like this piece of evidence are hard to deny and sweep under the rug. Our reports were chock full of irrefutable evidence like this, and yet the media buried the details in an attempt to keep it hidden from the American people.
What did he do?
I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry.
I'm not sure what he did. He took $100,000 for what?
From a communist from CEFC, which is an arm of the Chinese government.
For
he received payments. I don't know what it was for.
Huh.
But here's the thing: if the son of the vice president is receiving $100,000 from a communist Chinese country, shouldn't we know about that? Shouldn't he be registered as a foreign agent? He's gonna go down. He's gonna get dinged for not being registered as a foreign agent. Now,
I mean, was he selling blow or information? Like I
don't know. Maybe he was just selling access.
They were right, or here's how you get into the party.
Right. I'm the vice president's son.
Yeah.
I've got connections. What do you need? Maybe I can hook you up. Right?
I'm in the wrong business.
You know, and if Joe Biden met with them, well, his son's selling access to the vice president of the United States. Shouldn't we know that? Shouldn't we know how much of this money that Hunter Biden got from Ukraine, China, Russia? Shouldn't we know how much of that money went to Joe Biden? And if Joe Biden took meetings with any of these people?
Wait, how much is access to my dad worth, by the way? Anybody know? Because also access to my dad right now. My mom, when you need access to my dad for anything? Anybody want access to my parents? Because they're open on the market right now. What's the bidding start at? I mean, not 100,000. I mean, 10, 5. No takers? Anyone?
$5.
$5.
$5.
I might take that. But...
He flew on Air Force Two with Daddy to China. He also flew on Air Force Two with Daddy all over the place. I thought he went to Ukraine with Daddy, right? I think he went all over the place with Daddy on Air Force Two. Okay, so Grassley and Johnson had previously established that Hunter was financially involved with oligarchs from China, from the Chinese Communist Party, using information obtained by the Obama administration, interviews with government officials, and bank documents signed by all of the suspected parties. Hunter also reportedly admitted to presenting spy chief from the Chinese Communist Party, spy chief Patrick Ho, who started the company, that my partner, who is worth $323 billion, founded and is now missing. So Hunter, listen, you can't tell me that the Chinese, the Russians, the Ukrainians didn't know that he was a crack addict who was out of his mind most of the time and was desperate for money because he has no marketable skills. He can't hold a job. He does nothing. So what does he do? Well, if I give you $2 million, $3 million, can I meet Daddy?
I think you need a friend.
I think you're a little late to the gravy train.
Yeah.
You might be a little late.
I mean, I think he probably gets really good tickets to shows. I'm just saying, right? I mean,
probably.
Right? Probably does. I'm sure I have no problem getting fish tickets with Hunter around. I want to go to Dead Company and meet John Mayer. I mean, John Mayer's pretty liberal. I'm sure he knows Hunter.
They're all liberal.
Right. That's you don't think I have any morals, right? If that would get me into any of these shows, I'd be hanging out with Hunter every day, right? I don't care who it is. I'm in. If you told me tomorrow that Trump could get me tickets to John Mayer, I'd be like, Trump, hi, let's go see John Mayer. Him and I would be sitting ringside at Mayer. So there's no morals when it comes to shows. I'm everybody's friend at a show. We're all boys at concerts.
There's something wrong with you.
Everybody's my friend at a concert.
There's something wrong with you.
Everybody's cool at a concert.
Yeah, sometimes.
Once you're at a concert, all that glove comes off.
Yeah, I just don't like to give my money to these people. They're liberal elites, and they think I should pay more in taxes, but it doesn't bother them. You know what I mean?
I always told you that's how I can like Ted Nugent and Bruce Springsteen. The same thing. I don't care about their politics. It's all just music to me. That stuff goes like that, and then I just hear wee wah 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 la 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 la. That's all I hear.
That's all you hear.
That's all I hear. All that other yeah. Right by.
So just hang on 1 second. Hey, honey, could you bring me the 2 fabric samples from the porch? If you're listening. I don't hear movement.
Department.
I really don't need them for IT. I need them for decorating. Hey, babe. They're on the porch. Thank you. So give us an update, James, on your, and by the way, if anybody wants to come with some more comments here, let's see what people are saying. Paul, I see Mayor and, oh.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Paul, I don't know if you're a musician at all, but I'm on a, nice. I'm addicted to guitar pedals now. So John Mayer, just looking over, literally, I just looked over John Mayer's pedal board today. So I'm just looking like geeking out.
Can I just say that it's just so weird and random? It's just so weird and random.
It is. What do you mention, John Mayer? Well, I did, I guess.
Yeah.
I can tell by your picture. Yeah.
You can tell by his picture that he's a deadhead.
Dead almonds, that's my stuff. Yeah.
I don't hear anything but blah, blah, blah. Here, eat
yeah.
This is so
good. You're both eating. Yeah. Exactly. I feel you, Paul.
Yeah.
If they play 5-minute songs for 20 minutes, Paul, I probably like it.
Thank you.
That's my thing.
That's so
that's my band too. We write 5-minute songs and we play them for 20 minutes. Hoping to make people dance though. But
it makes you happy.
Yeah, it makes me happy.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's why we're happy. Well, not happy that we didn't get famous or signed. I mean, everybody wishes we were famous or signed. But I mean, now that we make our own records for fun, we don't care if we put an 18-minute guitar solo on it because nobody cares. You know, we can do what we want.
I have no idea what either one of you are talking about, so I'm just eating and talking to my husband.
Did you end up eating that whole thing, or did you take it?
No, it's still here.
Oh, that thing's giant. I thought 2/3 of that was gone by the way you were eating. I'm like, man.
I was only eating little pieces here and there.
You realize that had that gone in 7 bites, right? Like a horse. I'd have just been like, gone. That thing would have just been gone.
And that is why I'm not pre-diabetic.
It's true. You know, famed Jeff Garland asked how many, had an amazing bit, and I won't attempt to do it, but I will give you the general conclusion. How many donuts, the perfect amount of donuts, because 6 is absolute gluttony. So how many is the perfect amount of donuts?
1.
No, of course the number's 5.
5? What? Oh, because 6 is absolute gluttony?
Yeah. So you have to watch the bit to get there, but his Jeff Garland, is an awesome comedian and actor.
Oh, I know who he is. He plays the father on the Goldbergs, but he quit in the middle of a show, and now he's not on the show anymore. He quit in the middle of a taping of one. He apparently
he's also on we just talked about the show earlier. You know, the show you said was boring. You like a couple seasons up.
Oh yeah, he was on. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
He's on that too. Yeah, but his stand-up is hilarious. So look that up if you ever want to. Jeff Garland.
I don't think I like him because he seems like a diva. So I don't think I like him. Paul, yes, I remember them because they're right across this room, right over there.
Oh, I have a bunch
I still have
too.
them. Oh, yeah. Oliver, don't.
Oh. Oliver's trying to go after them.
No, don't eat the cinnamon roll.
Springsteen, also known for a lot of great jams. Speaking of guys who have 5-minute songs and go for 20 minutes sometimes.
Listen, great band, stupid liberal.
Yeah, that's why you're doing all that stuff.
Tell us about your car. So last week, if you didn't hear, James got his oil changed and it wound up in his engine being blown out.
Yep, and I'm still not technically that's not on yet, so I won't name the major company yet. But so I'm about to get an engine output in my car from a nice company called Jhs. They're going to do it significantly cheaper than I was going to get it done for, and instead of 11,000, it'll now be 3,000, which is so much better than 11.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
Yep, I'll give Jhs over there in Egg Harbor City, New Jersey, a nice little plug. So
yeah, I'm plugging Mr. Sticky Buns.
Yep,
and you can plug them, so that's fine. Yeah. Okay, so I need your advice on something. I need everybody's opinion.
All right.
So we have this porch. You've seen it. I don't know if you've seen it. You haven't been on the porch, but it's an enclosed 3-season porch. 55 feet long, 16 feet wide. It's a big porch. It's all enclosed, and it's like an L, a little bit of an L, not quite an L. All right, and so I bought all this furniture on Facebook Marketplace. So the walls are like a blue with a little teeny tiny bit of green. It's not a pure blue, a little bit of green in it. White wainscot, dark brown ceiling that's all carved, and it's got a lighter floor because it would be too dark because it's got dark roller shades. And then it's got seagrass rugs. So they're like a natural brown color seagrass rugs, right?
All right.
Oh, wait, hold on. Paul's not done with you.
Got it.
All right.
British invasion years. You got it.
Probably in Asbury Park. You probably go see him.
Yeah.
Or Atlantic City. So so we have three seat groupings. You know, there's three like love seats that I have, and then one seat with the one love seat, two seats with the other, and then one seat with the other one. So I said I'll get two different types of fabric, right? So I settled on this fabric is going to be the patterned one.
Yeah.
And this is the plain one, okay? Because
nice.
I think all of this might be a bit much.
Yeah, break it up.
This is a little dull. So if I put like, so in the middle group, this will be the love seat, and then this will be the two chairs. And then on the ones on either end, this is the love seat for both of those, and this is the single chair with that group, okay?
Yeah.
So I go online and found this great place in Georgia that you go on and you just pick the size you want, and they have all these different samples, and they're super nice people, and they sent me all these samples for free, sent me some wrong samples, but anyway, they sent me these samples. So because I was going to try to put this in there too, because I thought it would go with all of this. I thought it goes kind of with this and this and this and this, but with the design in the wicker, this doesn't go. So that's out. So I go online to order everything. I can get everything I need in this. I can't get anything I need in this. This is all sold out. But I can get all of this.
Okay.
Does the husband get it? Oh, yeah. Oh, James, he was deeply involved in the choosing of all of this. He was the one who noticed the pattern of this up against the wicker and said it may not go. And he was 100% right. So absolutely. He's in touch with his feminine side. So I wrote to the company, I called the company, and they're like, well, we'll be getting more of this in 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
So 8 weeks, it takes me to the beginning of June. It's not terrible, right? And then they mail it to me, say it takes 2 weeks to get them. I'm in mid-June. It's not the end of the world, right? Do I order all of this now and have it and hope that this comes in on time and I only have to wait till mid-June? Because you know me. You know me. If I order this for just the seats that I need it for, and I wait for this to come in, knowing me, this isn't going to come in until October.
We'll have lots of great stuff for the show. So, I mean, there's that. I'll always hope for that. But, I mean, odds are that's what's going to happen. If we're playing the odds. Right.
Right?
Right.
But if I wait to order this, right? If I wait to order this to see when this comes in, this may be sold out.
Right.
Right?
Right. I think no matter what, at the very least, you definitely get the pattern you want in at least some of the pieces. I mean, if it were me, I would just get it in all the pieces and call it a day.
Right.
History.
Right.
And I don't know the husband's veto power here or what he feels about it.
Well, he gets mad at me because he says I'm a pessimist, which I am. Like, I'm definitely a glass half empty kind of girl, because I know the way things are going to go. I know that if I order this, right, and this comes without a hitch, this will come without a hitch. They have them in stock. They'll ship them out. Boom, 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 boom. Free shipping. Way to go. The 1, 2, 3 pieces that I need in this, one love seat, 2 chairs, isn't going to show until October. It's just the way things are. Now, it might turn around and it might actually come up on time, but the odds of it, based on my past, historically, that's just not how it's going to go down.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wind up with a love seat and 2 chairs you can't sit in because I don't have cushions.
Right.
So now there's another option. So I love this pattern. I don't know if you could see this pattern. Can you see this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love this.
That's nice.
And it's got like shells and octopus and, seashell and everything. So I really like this pattern, and it goes really well. But the contrasting one that goes with it is just a brown. with the natural wicker and the seagrass rugs, this is too much. It's all beige, beige, beige,
Oh,
beige,
black.
beige, and it disappears. So then I'm thinking, well, do I just get everything in this? And then I don't have to worry about
That's not as
this and
busy.
this.
That's not as busy as that other pattern. It's a little more.
Right. It's more subdued. This is, to me, is more tropical and like fun.
Right. This and that together kind of is why you had the two, because this is so busy. So you broke it up with
Right.
some poppier color, but not as busy, and that made it cool.
Right.
The other one is more subdued. You could put that on, I think, on everything and not
On
have
everything.
So busy. Yeah.
But hubby says, James, that this is too boring.
Yeah, you could be right.
He said it's not tropical, but it's very beachy. It's very beachy.
But not tropical. He's right. It's not
fun. It's not fun,
yeah.
He said.
He's right. It's not flashy. It's like subdued. It's like subdued shore.
Right. I love the pattern. I love this. I absolutely love this. Like if I could get a chair upholstered in this, like I really like this pattern. And it's hard to see because it's really just but there's a big shell here, and there's a shell here, and there's octopus tentacles. You know, like it's nice. It's kind of classic. You know.
Yeah.
So, what do I do then if we like this? I just order this and pray for the best.
Well, it sounds like hubby seems to be okay with the concept of, well, maybe you get more show prep.
Linnea, I trust Linnea. Order it, the first one. These two. If you have to, you can find another plain one to go with it. It's a catch-22. Our neighbor just ordered a mill. 60 weeks. Well, it's a mill. They ordered a mill. I'm ordering couch cushions. I can understand why it's 60 weeks to get a mill. I can't get 3 cushions for 8 weeks, so it's kind of comparable, don't you think? But she does like the shell one. Go Tiki Hut. What the heck is Tiki Hut postmodern? Do you know what that is, James?
I think that's the first one.
Is that this one, Craig?
Yeah, I think that's that one.
All right. So I should order this and then hope for the best with this. Is that what we're saying?
I think so.
Okay. All right.
That really is the second one's nice.
This one.
Yeah.
The shell
one's nice, but it doesn't have that. You know, it's just nice.
Because we have, I got the retro. Maybe I could even find them real quick, and then we'll let everybody go. Then we'll let you go. Let me see if I can find it.
I will tell you one other quick story too, just real super quick.
Okay, so let me just pull this up. Oh, wow, it's on sale. So let me just share this. We bought this, and we bought this one and in white. I found them. Can you see that? The Coca-Cola cooler thing?
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
We have one like that and one that's in beige.
Okay.
And a beige one that I got at what is one of those? Oh, Home Goods. Not Home Goods, Home Sense. There's Home Goods, Home Sense, and Marshalls. They're all like next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got it there. Here it is. Oh, here's the other one we have. This one. Hold on. I'm there. Where there? Oh, hold on. Can you see this? I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if it comes up. Share. This one. We got this one. So we have one of each. We have one of the red and one of this.
Ooh.
This one.
I
so
like
we have two.
that.
Yeah. So they were on sale. So I've got those out there too. So that's I kind of thought like this one would be a little bit more fun.
It's definitely the more fun one.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, I'll keep you posted and let you know what happens as far as that goes.
Okay. So quick tag to a story.
Oh,
and
yes.
And it was really geeky. So, but and just to make it super quick, I had discovered that I had some really super rare guitar pedal because we just talked about these things earlier while you're doing, right? But I told you that I made friends with a famous show online, right? And I'll plug the show. It's called the Jhs Pedal Show. This guy's my guru. His name is Josh Scott, right? Just anybody's a musician out there and you want to get geeky with this guy. But he got my pedal and it made it onto a show.
Oh, wow.
Right? They call it, it's part of a series they have called Totally Normal Behavior, and it's about collecting pedals and trading pedals and why people geek out on this stuff. And he actually shows my pedal, and it comes in, he talks about how it's broken. And right that day, I learned something from him right that day. But he shows my pedal right in, or about 24 minutes in. So about 24, 25 minutes in, he holds it up. It's called an Astrotone Astro Fuzz, and he holds it up there. It is a little black pedal, and I was like so geeked out. He tells a little about the story about how I was in the thing, and he's going to do another whole episode on them. But anyway, so. Yeah, but it made it into the show. I was all excited.
Well, that's good. I'm happy for you because I have no clue what the hell you're talking about.
Yep. Jhs Pedal Show, Totally Normal Behavior, episode 2. It just came out like a week ago.
Do you see what Linnea just put up there?
I do, Linnea, but I'm also an audio engineer. That makes me a gear nut. And I love all things that have to do with gear. I love microphones like this RE20 here. Yep, that's an Electro Voice RE20. See, I love microphones. I could talk about this microphone all day. It's history. I'm in like a geek for that stuff. And now I'm addicted. Yeah, and now I'm addicted to guitar pedals.
So between you mean drum pedals?
No, guitar pedals.
Oh, guitar pedals. Okay.
Like the guitar effects pedals, like distortion and delay and that kind of stuff. And now you can use those on drums, which I do.
Okay. Okay. So you cannot play at the end of the show because you're at the radio station. So there's no drums at the radio station. Number one.
I'll bring them in sometime though.
There you. My God, you have a hard enough time setting up a laptop for the show.
I know. We could do that one day though. I could put them right there.
All right. All right. And there's all this discussion about drum pedals and what was the other dorky thing you were talking about? Drum pedals and microphones and everything else. This is guitar pedals, whatever. Guitar pedals, all this other stuff. It does answer the question as to why James is single.
Yeah, I'd rather.
You're a little dorky. I love you, but you're a little dorky.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Dogs. We talked about dogs once on the phone. Distortion is a thing in Biden's mind lately. I know they're doing that thing. We talked about dogs once on the phone. Linnea, did Linnea call into our show in Atlantic City?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Okay.
No, I didn't. No, the plaintiff and I are.
Oh, she knows. She knows.
Yep.
The plaintiff and I. Yeah. You're so funny. So, good luck to Villanova on Saturday.
Yep.
6 o'clock. I do not watch the game because if I watch the game, they lose. And I think that this is going to be a sad game because I think it's going to be a game that they could win if they had Justin Moore. But he's hurt, had surgery, tore his Achilles tendon, so he's not playing. So I think it's going to be a sad game for Villanova. Last 3 out of 4 appearances in the Final Four, they won the whole tournament. See, 2018, 2016, and of course, 1985.
And then 1985.
But the last time they've gone to since 2016, I think it is the last. I don't know, but they've only lost one. So I think you mean geeky, not dorky. Okay, geeky.
All right.
That's all right.
Geeky. I'll take that.
Thanks. Yeah, you're adorkable.
Between divorces right now.
Oh no, Paul.
You're between plaintiffs?
Plaintiffs. You poor guys. I was talking to another friend of mine who's getting divorced and she won't move out of the house. Good luck, Nova. Yeah, since the Zags are out. Sorry, Linnea. Sorry, Mary. My FanDuel bet has something. Yeah, I got you, Paul. I get it. I totally understand it. Without Justin Moore, I just don't think that they could pull this off. So, but
yeah, like this. By the way, my plaintiff is still a sweetheart. So
your what is still your plaintiff.
Yeah.
She is. I love your plaintiff.
She always tells me to say hello to you and Doug. By the way. So she always.
Oh, tell her I said hi. I really like her. I never understood how she got you to begin with.
Yeah, I was punched way above my weight class. I mean,
you
way
were.
Above. Oh yeah.
You were.
Yeah.
And I used to tell you all the time, you need to get a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's gonna leave you. You can't pay the rent.
Well, very technically, I tried that, and she was the plaintiff because I said I was going back to this job. So I mean, that's really where all the sticking points were. So
yeah, I can understand. I can understand that. I'm happily married now. Good for you, Paul. I'm glad to hear it. Craig, mom and sis are totally into watching Nova. Yes, Craig graduated high school a year after me, and his sister graduated with my husband. So
awesome.
Yeah, because where I grew up, it's very incestuous. Everyone knows everyone.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things.
One of those towns.
But she's so cute. Well, you are too, James.
Aw.
So as always, please feel free to leave comments about what you want to hear more of, what you want less of. Do you want more politics? Do you want less politics? Do you want more like I don't know, like lighter stuff, lighter topics? I do have a topic I was going to do tonight that you guys could comment on, but I think I'm gonna wait till next week just because we had so much news this week. Do you hate our personal stories, like me asking you for decorating advice, that kind of thing? I mean, do you hate that? Do you, James's guitar pedal, fetish, whatever? Because I had someone say to me, don't ever do light topics. You're a serious news person. Don't go into that. And I was just like, I don't know. I more guitar pedals.
I just got two.
More cowbell.
Yeah, more
cowbell. You can do show and tell, and you can bring them in if you want. No, I don't think he's going to. Next week I'll have one with walnuts on it to show you.
Paul, if you find me on Facebook, I'm gonna put them up. I'll put pictures up. Feel free to find me on Facebook.
Well, if under Jimmy, do they look for Jimmy Switchels?
Oh, James. Yeah, it's true. It's James Ravick. Yeah, I'm sure you can find me through Mary too. But yeah, James Ravick, RAVIC. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul's a friend of mine, so he can find you on that page. So, thank you so much, everybody. This was so much fun, James. I'm so glad you made it. It wasn't going to be the same without you. I could tell you were moving into the garage when our project starts next week. We'll be playing house in the garage for 18 days.
Oh, good luck with that. I hope it's only 18 days.
I lived through our project in the house with contractors. So
yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah.
I remember the updates. The updates.
All the time. So, hold on. This is for you from Craig.
Oh.
That means nothing
Craig,
to me.
That means a lot to me. Bucket Brigade. Oh, that's a chipset.
Okay. That means nothing.
Yeah.
Scaffolding for months. I had scaffolding on my Christmas. I had scaffolding on my Christmas card, and do you know those sons of bitches? We had the scaffolding on our house for a year. So much, it was on for so long that we put it in our Christmas card, and we decorated it and we put reindeer on it, and the two of us we lit it up and everything. The scaffolding because it's been there for a year. Do you know? About a month ago, they just came and took the scaffolding down. They basically just kept it here because they didn't have anywhere else to store it, or they didn't want to have to store it anywhere. So they just left it on our house for a year.
Oh, that's free storage. And you were so kind, and you didn't just rip it down for fun. That's nice.
Yeah, but was that nice? Did you hear about Megyn Kelly's skiing adventure in Montana? No, but I know she was probably a big sky, the same place that broke my leg because that's where everybody goes now. No, Paul, what happened? I love that you do hard news and some funny stuff. Wish you were on TV. You look great. Thanks, Bill. I saw that. We had it so long we ended up owning it. Yes, we had lights on ours too. Yeah, Paul, drop me a message. Tell me what happened with Megyn Kelly. I could probably just look it up, but maybe she got to meet the ski patrol like I did. Big Sky. So.
Nice.
All right. Have a good one. Her son got severely injured climbing a rock and ruptured his spleen or something. Oh.
Ouch. Oh,
yeah.
Tough.
I'll look that up. I didn't know anything about that. So
yeah.
All right. Why are you rock climbing while skiing? That doesn't make any sense to me, but sure. No. So thank you, James. It's always so good to see you. All right. See you too. All right. And I did show and tell this week. You could do show and tell next week with your guitar pedal things.
I'll bring stuff from the trade from the guy. Yep, he sent me stuff too. So
okay, good.
It's not on backward.
He's famous. You know what? And he'll sell you.
He's really famous. Yeah.
No, I meant you. You'll.
Well, yeah. I'm a little famous. He's very famous. Yeah.
Yeah. So he'll. But you could sell your signature for $5. You could give autographs.
I'll take that $5 any day.
Look at that. Oh my gosh, we did almost a 2-hour podcast. Look at the time. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm shutting up. Goodbye. Thank you
Bye,
so
all.
much, everybody. Mwah. Love you, James. Love you. And I
Love you
just
too.
have to hold on. I had to put this on here. So we are out.